This is going to be your trigger warning. It gets dicier on the second half of this video, and I do give another trigger warning before it really gets into the really bad stuff that Bree Powers is being accused of. So just know that all the trigger warnings, okay, all of them going forward in this video.
Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. I have once again some updates about the Bree Power situation. I want to spotlight two people that came forward with their experiences with Bree Powers. And while I don't think it's right for people to jump on the internet just because they had a negative interaction with people, it does seem like these situations are deeply traumatizing for these two people. So let that be your trigger warning going forward. If you'd like to continue, there will be mention of SA, DV, etc. It's going to be very dark, but I think it needs to be said because I think it's important to spotlight the victims that were comfortable coming forward and be grateful for them having the courage to come forward and share their experiences. Hopefully, if it's true that the court is going to be open to hearing their experiences, that will happen, and hopefully they feel comfortable doing so. I want to start off with this woman who I found on TikTok, Vicky Nova, and later we're going to see something from a man named Aziz.
I wanted to get on here and share my 2 cents in my story about Bree. Coming from somebody who has been caught in her crosshairs, I can wholeheartedly say that this individual is off their rocker and needs severe mental help, and she refuses to get it. Bree lives here in Salt Lake. She has for many, many years. I met her when I turned 21, okay? I was dating a club promoter at the time who gave me a table at the club for my birthday, okay? And he was friends with everybody, okay? He was friends with every walk of life. He introduced me to everybody, blah, blah. I was new to the club scene. So Bree was one of the people that he introduced me to. And I remember the night that I met her like it was yesterday. I remember going up to my table, okay? I had my friends, my group of friends that I'd been friends with for years. That's who was invited. And she was just there. And I didn't know her or want her there, and she thought because she was friends with my ex that she could just do whatever the hell she wanted and stay there. Anyways, it was just super weird and uncomfortable, and he introduced me to her. At the time, the things that I did know about her before, shaking her hand officially was that she was an escort and that she was underage, okay, that she was using a fake ID to get into clubs and blah, blah, blah. So immediately, I just didn't like her. I judged her based off of that. I judged her before I knew her because being a 21-year-old coming into the nightlife scene and getting to know all these people, you don't have as much tolerance for the dark side of it, which is the dealers, the this and that. So I immediately was like, no. I was like, me and my friends are not like that. We don't do any of that stuff. Not a person I want to associate with. So anyways, come to my birthday party. My ex introduces me to all these people, and she was one of them. Said hi to her, and I was just like, ew. Like I don't want to be associated with her at all. Anyways. Didn't want her at my table, didn't want to be around her. I just thought she was gross, okay? Fast forward, I become best friends with one of my ex's friends, okay? We were mutuals, and I became best friends with her. And we were tight at the hip. We were inseparable. And this girl that I was best friends with was friends with everybody. Like, everybody loved her, okay? Her and I were just together all the time. We were friends with everybody, whatever. And Bree had this apparent just it was obsessive over this girl that I was friends with. So you have me, my best friend that I became best friends with, and then there was Bree kind of on the outside who was obsessed with my best friend. So these two were friends. So Bree just kind of became part of this circle of people that was kind of just around all the time. I still had my, opinions about her. I personally never got close to her, never had a friendship with her. I just kind of tolerated her because she was mutuals, right? With people that I was friends with in that scene. But she just always rubbed me wrong. Like, her energy is so jacked up and she's so creepy and weird, and I just never liked her. Never did. I just wasn't feeling her. And she didn't like that. So super sickly obsessed with my best friend. They have their own whole story, which is, I hope one day her and I can get on here and talk about it, because the she knows about Bree is crazy. She was really good friends with Bree way back in the day before she realized that Bree was a nutcase. So anyways, fast forward even further, I worked in nightlife during that time as well. So I used to be a bottle girl, and then I became a manager at a nightclub in Salt Lake. And Bree has just always kind of been around, right? She's always been around. I always heard weird, crazy stories about her accusing exes of, you know, rape and abuse and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, it's just crazy. Like, and nobody really fully knew that she was psycho until now, okay? But there was a small group of people that knew that she was off her rocker a long time ago, including me. So anyways, years go by, okay? Always kept my distance from her, stayed out of her crosshairs just because I knew I did not want any part of that. So this was about 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago now, I'm not sure. So anyways, she worked for me at a nightclub, okay? I wouldn't say worked for me necessarily, I just managed, okay? And she was one of the bottle girls, and there was a lot of talk about how she was harping clients for tips. There was a lot of our customers would constantly complain about her to them about not tipping her enough or writing down tips that they did not agree to give her. And that's theft. That's theft, okay? That's fireable. And so being in the position that I was in, I had to go talk to the owners, and the owners were like, yeah, we need to get rid of her. So it wasn't only the theft that was going on. She was constantly late to work. Every weekend, dude. She'd show up frantic with all her fucking bags and she would go downstairs and she would get ready for work while we were supposed to be working already when the club was open. And we would approach her and she'd be talked to about this, like, hey, you can't be late for work. Like, what the it's unfair to the rest of the girls who have been here for an hour or two prepping for the night, and you're just showing up getting ready. And her response to us was, I'm a business owner, you just don't understand, like, blah blah blah, poor me, pity party bullshit that she's always pulled, okay?
That she's always pulled. That leads me to believe that Deej the dad is not the first person who has tried to hold her accountable, not really online, but maybe just offline in her personal relationships of any kind.
Okay. So anyways, it escalated. It got to the point where I just pulled her off the schedule. I stopped scheduling her. It was our way of firing her. And I was just like, no, we don't need your drama. This is bullshit. Especially when most of the people that we worked with are single moms putting food on the table for their kids or whatever. It's like, we all have our own struggles, but we still manage to be here on time and take care of shit. So this whole thing blows up. And so I take her off the schedule. She's not coming in anymore. I'm just like, no, I'm hoping she just goes away in peace and just leaves us the hell alone. That sure did not happen. I knew better. She goes and she files for unemployment. She tries to sue the club, and she hops online and just berates me, just goes on for like weeks. So she flies off the handle. She made claims, the craziest things I've ever heard about myself. She said, so I was friends with one of her exes back in the day, and this particular person is another person who she claims that she won like a $700,000 lawsuit with, which is not true. She claims that he raped her and beat her and all these things, and she says that he's not getting charged with anything because he has like military immunity or something. I don't know. It's a whole mess what she says, and none of it's
we're talking about the same video, she said diplomatic immunity, and I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean.
true. I've been friends with this person since long before I met her. And yeah, so one of the claims that she made about me was that I was sleeping with her ex at some point, which is absolutely not true. And saying that he was the one that conspired to fire me, that he like tried to get close to me and told me to fire her. And I was like, no, that's not how this worked. She made videos saying that I was a drug dealer. She made videos saying that I was
that is really problematic. So let's say this girl is trying to go get a job somewhere, and there's some other person like Bree Powers making up lies on the internet, basically taking a lot of accusations that were being brought against her and saying no and flipping it on other people. That's actually hurting people's like professional lives as well, potentially. I don't think people's online persona should a lot of the times have anything to do with your professional work, but in some situations it absolutely is warranted.
Videos saying that I slept my way up in the club like through management, and that's not how it works. It's like you've got bartenders and bottle girls, and then you've got someone who manages them, and then you have the owners. So like, who am I sleeping with to get here? Okay, said all this crap. Made up all these lies about me just to try to make me look bad. I said nothing. This is actually the first time that I'm coming on here and saying something. Amongst all of the other crazy shit she's done to other people, like if you come in her crosshairs, she is gonna attack you and attack you and attack you, and she will not stop. So while this whole thing is going on with her freaking out online about me taking her off the schedule because she wasn't fit to work at the club anymore, she showed up to the club. Like, you filed from unemployment, tried to file a lawsuit against the club, and then you're talking all this shit about me online for weeks, and then she showed up to go out with like her friends at the club. So
that's wild. Why would you show up at the place you're trying to sue? If you genuinely feel like you were wronged, why would you show up to have a good time at the place where you were wronged? The logic isn't logicking. And I have a feeling, based on a lot of things that we are going to continue to hear, and other people who aren't in this video, you can go listen to other people's stories as well. But personally, I don't think that she would be taken seriously in court. And I don't believe that at the end of the day she wants to be taken seriously. I think there is something going on where she craves this negative attention, and she even called herself the black sheep of her family in one of the videos. But it seems she's the villain, not any sort of victim that we can verify so far, but the villain.
So she walks in with her friends, and I'm like, no, you cannot be in here. Like, you're a liability, you need to get the fuck out. So she tries to record me, and the video's out there somewhere. I think she took it down, but, well, she had to take it down because I took her to court. But I walked in there, and because she's standing on a table, and I walk in, and I'm like, hey, like, you need to go. You need to get the fuck out of here. You're not allowed to be in here. No, you're not welcome here. She, like, puts her phone in my face trying to record me, and she's kicking me out. I'm like, yes, I am. Like, I was like, oh.
So this is how she acts. So she did it at a club, gets her phone out. Oh, I'm not getting what I want. I'm going to record you. And then with Deej the dad. Oh, I'm going to record you and make it look like everyone else is in the wrong.
Okay, you're not gonna listen to me, I'll just grab security. Like, no. Security drags her out of the club and she leaves. Freaks out about it, of course. Cannot handle getting kicked out of the club. Like, it's crazy. Like, you're coming to a place that you are insanely unwelcome, and then you throw a fit when you get kicked out. Eat shit. So, anyways, never said a word. I didn't give into her stupid social media shit because I don't do that. I don't want to. So, I filed defamation charges, harassment, A, B, and C. So I was like, I'll just be smart about this. And
I wonder how that went, because defamation is really hard to prove. But if you're coming on here accusing someone of the accusations that are being brought against you just to deflect from what you've done, then yeah, I think that could be pretty substantial potentially.
Make a paper trail, at least. Make a paper trail of the crazy. So she gets served with paperwork for everything that I filed against her. Sure, she gets served the paperwork. And her next video, within 5 minutes, okay, of her getting served, she's recording it, and she's on the phone, and she's shaking, recording the paper she just got served, and you can tell it's all crumpled up, and she like unfolded it, and she's recording it. And the problem I had with that is my address was on that, and she put it out there on social media. Now I have a daughter, and I'm like, you're not gonna put my goddamn address online when I have a kid. Like, you're so crazy. So anyways, I filed more charges, took her to court, and so we had to do
straight to jail. I know people say that jokingly. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I'm not being funny. You are not safe to be on the internet. You should have your internet privileges revoked and your ability to move freely in society restricted.
A Zoom call court, right? So it's me and her dirtbag lawyer, who God knows where she got a lawyer. He had zero skills. He helped her zilch, nothing. He did not help her at all. And on the recording, like, because you can see, so it's me, I'm in my living room dressed for court, and then we've got the judge, and then her lawyer, like her free lawyer, I'm sure she found somewhere, sucked to get him to work for her, is up here in the corner, and then it's her, and she's just sitting in her car, and her fucking phone is like this. Like, I could see her steering wheel. This is how she is in court.
I completely believe that. You guys have seen the other videos that she's made. The angles, what are we doing? It's too much. It's really jumbly. Motion sickness for everyone. I completely believe that she was in court, doing the online court like this, like with the phone way down there, like a weirdo. Why would you not want to put your best foot forward? Like, even if you did every single thing you're being accused of, why would you not want to represent yourself decently? Maybe not well, maybe not your best, but decently.
She's just like this, talking in court. And I'm like, what the fuck? So we start hashing out our deal with the judge. And I was like, nope, here's everything you need to know. Here's all the proof, screenshots, blah, blah. They already had all the evidence. And she's lying, saying that I was texting her, harassing her, all this crap. I was like, nope, I didn't say a goddamn word to you. I didn't make one post about you. And her lawyer was like, oh, well, he just shrugged, basically. He was just like, well, I guess I don't know what to do, like, whatever. So he knew she was a bad apple. And the judge ordered her to remove all of her content about me, and that if she ever talked about me online again, I could reopen the case and she would be charged.
Good. And hopefully that means she'd also be put away somewhere because she's not safe to be around. And if you don't believe me about that, keep watching this video.
So she said, fine, whatever. Okay, so we get off the call. That's all said and done. She deletes all the videos. I don't hear from her. Later on, a few months later, I decided to pull her records. So you can like go online and you can pay to see somebody's court records. So I pulled all her records. So I can see all her collections. I can see every time she's tried to file anything in court. I can see all her business. So I have all of it in a folder at home in case she ever tries to pull anything. But in that is so much I didn't even know. She tried to go to the court 3 or 4 times to file charges back against me, and nothing stuck. I never got served with any paperwork. And in the notes, because she wouldn't leave them alone about me, the courts and the officers, it said that they turned her away and they gave her the number for the mental health crisis phone number. So whoever was at the court was just like, no, we're not filing this. You're off your rocker. Here's a phone number for some mental health help.
And I don't think we need to be professionals to see that, because we're not making any sort of diagnosis. We are just simply observing the fact that she is not a safe person to be in society. And this is not just one person's story. There are so many stories even worse than this.
I just laughed. I was like, that's crazy. Like, you spend so much time and energy for what? You don't get anything out of this. So anyways, so I don't hear from her for a very long time. It all goes away. I'm like, cool. The court shut her up. They installed a mute button on her. Awesome. And then I wake up, this is probably like a year ago now, so 2 years after the whole incident. I wake up and I have notifications from her on my Instagram, and she had been up all night long trying to spread misinformation about another one of her exes. She had won some court case, and she's commenting on just random people's videos or random people's posts in Salt Lake that she won this court case, which is not true. I looked at her court records again. She didn't win shit. She keeps getting turned away because nothing she says is true. She has no evidence. She comes across my page to leave these comments. So she left the comment, and then I think she realized she was on my page, and then she made another comment like, do you remember when you were f***ing him, you whore, and blah blah blah. Now mind you, I'm married, okay? Like that was not happening ever. So I responded back to her, and I was just like, you do know this one comment could catch you charges, right?
I don't even know why she would do that girl that kindness. I think she does need help and a certain amount of compassion, because she clearly needs some sort of intensive, immediate help, because from what I've seen, she is a threat to, it is a public safety issue. From what I've seen, it is a public safety issue. So I'm shocked she's still on the streets, but maybe that'll change October 1st. Because if it was me, and God forbid she comes for me too, I'm on the phone. I am not doing a kindness. I'm on the phone. You are going bye-bye. The law is going to take care of you. I'm not doing any kindnesses. I don't know why she did.
Don't you remember the judge telling you that if you ever talked about me online again, that you would get charges? And then I had a handful of my friends just go off on her, and she finally deleted the comment, and I haven't heard from her since. But this about her going viral with DJ doesn't surprise me one bit. This has been happening for the last 10 years. I am really glad that DJ's benefiting from it, and I hope that his business does really well because of it, because he deserves it. Nobody deserves the wrath of Brie. It's mind-boggling, and it's laughable at this point, because when my shit went down a few years ago, it kind of teetered on like, is she telling the truth or is she crazy? Like, only a small amount of people realized that she was out of control and a liar. And now,
right, because initially hearing her talk, I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And it's kind of like when we are hearing about MLMs and cults, where they use small things that you could say, Yeah, I can agree with that. And they progressively get more out of line, but you might not be able to see it depending on how far up that ladder you've gone into Neverland. And it seems like Brie Powers has reached Neverland with what she's saying, where it is completely detached from any truth. And there used to be some sort of truth. I think maybe there could have been, but it's lost now. And I don't think she's making herself seem believable or someone to be taken seriously at all.
That it's going viral, I'm like, yes, finally, yes. We all can see the truth, and everything you say can be disregarded. I do hope that she gets help someday, because here's the thing, is like, although she's a piece of shit, I do see that she's suffering, and she has been for a very long time. Like, yeah, she came from a hard childhood, obviously. There's some messed up things that she's done her entire life, and I think a lot of it does stem from her childhood, and I think she has some serious mental health issues, and I hope that she can seek to, you know, rectify the damage that she's done, and eventually seek professional help. She, in my opinion, is 100% a danger to people. I think that at some point, because she has no self-control.
I completely agree. And I don't think it should be like weekly therapy. I think it needs to be where she is somewhere that she can't leave. Because I don't think she can make that decision rationally.
I think that at some point she might actually hurt somebody or kill them, to be honest with you. Just based off of what I've seen this last however many years. It's almost been 10 years. Anyways, I hope she gets help before she actually hurts somebody, instead of just harasses them and doxes them, because nobody deserves that.
And let's keep that in mind while we listen to an experience that he had, and he's known her for a while. So let's give this a listen. And trigger warning, this is when it's about to get dicey.
Hello, my name is Aziza Ansari. I'm Brie Powers' ex. I've known her since 2015. We're both 16 years old, effectively. Tonight, I'm going to share my story. And just as you have given DJ the Dad a chance to listen to him, I'm hoping that you do the same thing with me. There's going to be a lot of details, domestic abuse. There's going to be court cases. We've known each other for 10 years. It's a very, very long time. And I have been very reluctant on coming on here and creating an account, because I've been off of social media and private for the past 2 years, because ever since we broke up, Brianna Powers had been on a rampage trying everything in her power to defame me, my name, my reputation. Tonight, I'm just going to share the brutally honest truth. And everything else is up to you to decide. It's also going to be pretty entertaining, like a Netflix series, kind of. You know, I like editing stuff, so I'm going to put like some timestamps and receipts and all that.
Whoa. Hey, hey,
Call
hey.
me crazy,
Whoa.
bitch.
Whoa.
Call
You
me
are
fucking
crazy.
crazy.
Back up.
Yeah, I am fucking crazy.
Dude, hey.
That certainly looks like her to me without her filters. It definitely looks like her.
Brianna Powers. And I am Aziza Ansari, her ex. The guy that had known her since, dude, I said 2015, but I really don't remember. Could be 15, could be 14, could be something. It's been a long time. But we were both in Taylorsville High School, and we were both in cooking class. One time in high school, Brianna gets too drunk off of moonshine liquor.
Hooray! So it looks like we're filming on my phone because my backup battery was never charging, so.
Something. She was collapsed by the curb. I see her, and I see some people that I'm not going to drop their names because I do not want to ruin their lives. But they wanted to do some things to her. I objected. I picked up Brianna Powers, put her in her car, drove her to her foster dad's home. That gave her a little bit of security. So after we graduated high school, Brianna turned 18, and she started escorting. In one of her videos, she was talking about how she got a security job. It was not a security job. It was a driver. And she was an escort. And I'm not proud of that fact, but that's life. She was hitting me on Facebook every now and then since 2015, whenever she has a problem. So I was basically the physical and emotional support guy. And she said, if you don't, then I'm going to off myself. Kid you not. It's because I would go to her house so she doesn't off herself. Our life were completely separate.
That is so manipulative. Saying that you're going to unalive yourself over that? Absolutely not. And this is something that gets people who do have a deep attachment. This is one of the ways that people will manipulate you to get what they want from you. When they feel like they're about to lose you, their grip on you, they throw this one in the mix. I'm going to end it all if you don't give me what I want, which is a lot of times just attention and other people's time.
And we were kind of in touch. It was basically the same trend. Whenever Brianna is in bad trouble and she's in a very bad mental state, or she needs some help, she would hit me up and I would be there for her. Come 2020, when she mysteriously becomes obsessed with me, And don't hear from me. I'm going to put a video of someone else that says that.
And that the father of that child didn't want to have anything to do with it, but she was obsessed with this Arab guy. And she claimed that this Arab guy, Aziz, wouldn't have anything to do with her so as long as she was pregnant.
She becomes obsessed with me. In January, February.
So saying that you're going to unalive yourself, it sounds like did keep him in contact with her, because obviously why would you want that to happen to somebody? But then she added this extra layer. You don't want anything to do with me while I'm pregnant with your kid, which is crazy and manipulative. Like, if it's true and it's possible he was the dad, then that could have just been communication, but she also could have used that, if it was true, could have used it for manipulation to keep him around and keep him there emotionally, even if she's not.
We start hanging out a little bit more. That was after the time that she had aborted her child and got divorced with this guy, and she was exes with this other guy that she was fighting with. It was
What she was saying when we were looking way back at the Deej the Dad situation, she said that she had an ex that kicked her in the stomach when she was pregnant, and she no longer has her daughter. And that was supposed to be the explanation for that. But it sounds like what he's saying is she had an abortion. Now, let's say it's true that she was pregnant and she did get kicked in the stomach and she had to terminate the pregnancy. That is horrific if that's what happened. That's horrible. And yeah, I might let my screws loose for that too, if I'm being honest. But I don't think I would do this. It would be like an inner turmoil. I'm going to wear some crazy clothes, shave my head. Okay, not like go abuse other people.
the whole thing going on. So she basically was rebounding, right? And I told her, look, I got out of a bad relationship and I'm not ready for a relationship at all, but we can be friends. So we were friends because sooner or later, those requests started to become more explicit and more sexual. Now it's June, July of 2020, and we're in this toxic situationship that I've been desperately trying to get out of, but I cannot get out of because every time I try to get out of, Brianna says that she will off herself again. And I'll show you a bunch of evidence. Don't worry, I'm human too. So I started developing a connection with Bria. I started to, develop some feelings. And in December, I think, or November of that year, we decided to give a shot. I said, okay, I'll take you on a date. So took her on a date. Worst decision of my life. It was horrible. Okay. Well, honestly, the day was okay. But a few days later, we started getting into problems again. But it was Thanksgiving coming up, and I didn't want to leave her alone because she had huge problems with her family, and she had nobody to spend Thanksgiving with. So I gathered a bunch of friends, and we made a Friendsgiving for her. I brought a turkey, cooked it for her, it was amazing. Then we got back to our usual fights, and Christmas comes around, and she has nobody to celebrate Christmas with. So I bring her over to my family, to my house, we celebrate Christmas. Then it was New Year's, same thing. I went to my friends to Vegas, and she came with, and it was constant. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I have nobody.
Why is that? Now, I can believe, even though I'm not a professional, anything, I can believe that something wrong happened to her, whether it was early in her childhood or in some of her relationships, that started developing this sort of behavior in her. But if you have no one and nothing, you also have to examine, not in a victim blaming way, but you also have to examine the part you played in that, even if though you're not responsible for people abusing you. You never are. But what is your part in this repeating pattern, and what is your part in feeling this way? Because you don't have control of what other people are doing, but you can control yourself. She can't, though. I just mean as in general.
Off myself if you don't celebrate with me type situation. And I was like forced all of the time to be around her. Comes 2021 when everything collapses. To be very precise, it's January 9th, 2021. Me and Brianna get into an altercation, then it becomes verbal, then it becomes physical. And she proceeds to beat the living shit out of me.
Just hit me again.
Yeah, and?
What do you mean?
Yeah, and what? What?
You can't keep hitting me.
Yes, I
what?
fucking can.
And
You
can't,
deserve it.
and you can't
You deserve
threaten-
it.
I haven't listened to this entire thing. I skipped around to see if this is something I could handle on my channel. But it is really hard to handle stuff like this on my channel. And there are clips I'm going to show you that made me tear up because it brings me back to not good times. And hopefully you've never been in situations like this, but it's going to be rough. So I don't blame you if I see you in a different video.
I kid you not. Look, it's not easy for me to admit these things, right? I'm a grown-ass man. I come from a very rough childhood, from a war zone. It's not easy for me to sit over here and tell you that I got beat up by a woman, right? But I was raised not to put my hand, not to raise my hand on a woman.
That's called self-control. And if it's true that he exemplified that and never put his hands on her, why, as the other person in the relationship, would you not take that as an example to follow? Why would you think that if he's not putting his hands on you, now you can put them on him? If he's not hurting you or someone else and you're not trying to make him stop or anything, it doesn't seem like that was happening. Why would you do that, admit to it, and then say you can keep doing it?
So I basically sat there and took it until I got sick of it and I just wanted to leave. And on my way, trying to walk out, she was chasing me, hitting me, bashing my head, ripping my clothes. It was January. I pulled out my phone. I tried calling 911 multiple times. She grabs it, wrestles my phone out of my hands. I was successful. I called 911. She got scared. She let me go. By the time I got outside, I was barefoot. My shirt had been ripped. I was in my undershirt, which was ripped. So, Western police come. They respond. They tell me what's going on. I told them, hey, this, and that happened. I don't want to press charges. I don't want her to go to jail, which was really stupid on my part. But in my mind, I'm like, this. I have no idea what was in my mind. Okay,
Well, I think we can see where Vicky could have stepped up and he could have stepped up. I don't believe that they knew each other existed, and I don't believe either of them knew that they had the power to do this or the confidence and belief in themselves that they can do this, put a stop to it. And so I don't want to blame them for not taking that next step, but I think sometimes, especially in situations like his, it's okay to be the one to put a stop to this and go ahead and press those charges.
I just don't know. All right, I'm stupid. I told them I just want my stuff back. I'll show you the police reports and also the record from the 911 call. Everything is documented. No, put a note here because this is going to be important later. Few days after that, Brianna goes berserker mode. I think it was January 13th. Don't believe me? Look at KSL News. I think it was January 13th when she assaults two people at a salon because it was COVID and she doesn't want to wear the mask. Now, she's going to tell you a bunch of things about, oh, the guy fell in 45 years. I know the truth. She assaulted him. Then she proceeds to assault the police officer. I think she spat on him, so she got disorderly conduct and then resisting arrest, and she attacked the police. And there's a pattern with Brianna attacking the police. You'll notice that. And she comes back to my left.
How are you not put away even after that? Like, how are you allowed to walk around in society when you're clearly a danger?
It's a bunch of my family, and she says, hey, I'm really sorry. I just want to talk to you. I'm in trouble. Then during that time, also, she was getting kicked out of her house. Madison, the girl, she made a video about that. Everything lines up. So she was like, please, I just need a friend. I know I did that. I'm really sorry. Just help me move, or help me with this case, or help me. And my better side took over again. And I said, okay, I'm going to help her with this, but I'm never going to be back with her at all. No, I do help her. It was disastrous. First, we were going to move in together with some friends because we have business together, and then that didn't work out, and then I really wanted Brie to leave me alone, and we all know how that turns out when I want her to leave me alone. She went on another tantrum. She went to my parents' house. She started leaving things at my porch. She threatened my father to spit in his face. She threatened my brother, my sister. She got charged with harassment, and she got ordered to not contact Ansari's family again. That didn't work out. She still did. One time when I was trying to help her move, we also got into a fight. She wanted to get sexual. I did not want that. We got into a fight.
At what point is the law going to see people acting like this as a pattern, an established pattern of behavior, and put a stop to it? Whether that's in an institution or behind bars or something else, so that other people aren't getting treated this way for no good reason. I haven't seen a good reason for her to be acting any of these ways. While I can understand through a deluded mind how you could come to these conclusions, there isn't any logical or rational or safe reason to treat people this way.
Again, she proceeded to hit me again. I ran into the car. She jumps on top of the car, kicks my. She tried to kick my windshield, and she tried to get into the car through the windshield. It was insane. And she didn't go away until I called the cops again. No, this time I said, this is it. There's no me and Brianna anymore. No friends. No nothing. No more favors. Then the weirdest thing ever happens.
Well, he did say he was going to do it like a Netflix series, didn't he?
All right, popcorn drinks part 2. But this is going to be different. You see, I'm a very, very morning person. At night, I do not function as well. I speak a lot slower and I think a lot slower. So hopefully this is going to be a lot faster. All right, now remember when I said January 9th? That's an important date. Put a pin in it. That's the date that Brie assaults me. I called the cops on her. They escorted me out. A few days later, she goes to a salon and she assaults a few more people over a mask, and then she gets into it with the cops. Now, while they were charging her with misdemeanors, I went to a friend's birthday. Some people got into an argument. There was some alcohol involved. Nothing really out of the ordinary happened, but we called it a night. Following weeks, Bree continues her attempts to call me, try to get in touch with me. She emails my family, she contacts all my friends, and she is just going on a rampage, just trying to get a hold of me. Now, during that time, the girl Madison made the video that Bree was getting evicted. So Bree was just begging me to help her move.
Also, I do want to pause it out there because I don't like to get lost on one side or another. And I also think there's lots of points of views that get lost on the internet when we have discussions about these situations. And I like to bring those forward because maybe you've never heard of it before, or maybe you also need to be brought back down to reality where there are people who had a truth about a situation that is convoluted now because they've done horrible things like Bria Powers seems to have done. But at some point, there's a cry for help, and they're trying to reach out to different people, maybe in your life if you're with her, or a friend's or a coworker's, and she's reaching out to those people for help because somewhere along the way there was a truth, but now it's lost. And a lot of times if she was a genuine victim and she's reaching out to those other people for help and she gets turned away, that can be really hard because if you're not there, and you don't have any proof, you don't know what to believe if you're one of those people who she's reaching out to. And so I do want to bring that, and if it was in a situation where he was reaching out to her friends and family, if she has any, reaching out for help, and if they didn't believe him, that would be really hard. So I think it is important that we ground ourselves for a minute that everything we see might not be true. Not that I don't believe victims. That's not where I'm trying to get. It's just keep yourself grounded before everyone gets caught up in the hullabaloo like people did with the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation.
We did talk, and we made an agreement that we can be friends if she starts going to therapy. I told her, you need therapy. So she agrees. She goes, she registers, she's foster kid, so the state is paying for her therapy, and she's supposed to go to therapy. However, she was sleeping in almost every morning and not going to therapy during this time. That happened multiple times until the states withdrew. They decided that they're not going to pay for therapy anymore, and me and her got into a fight because, dude, you were supposed to go to therapy. Now, we don't talk for a while. We're on bad terms, I think, and one day, out of the blue, she messages me. She says, we need to meet up now. I need to talk to you about this. So we meet up. And now, with Bree, there's a trend. When she says we need to meet up, we need to meet up. Otherwise, she's going to call 100 different people, 500 different phone numbers. It's a whole scene. So we do meet up at a gym parking lot. Bree pulls out her phone and she shows me messages from a girl. I'm not going to mention her name because although she tried to ruin...
You know what? That smoothie just made me really bloated, so I'm going to have a protein bar while we finish this.
In my life, I'm not going to do the same to her. She had not spoken about me in public, so I'm going to respect that and I'm going to keep her privacy. Now, in these messages, this girl was telling Bree that I did... Okay, now imagine the most horrible, atrocious crime. Now add Ted Bundy on top of it. It was insane what this girl was claiming. I broke her, but there are things I cannot even say because, again, this get taken down. She's making all these allegations, and at this point, I'm baffled. I don't know what's going on. Is this a prank, or are they? I don't know. Is this like a collab between them? Is this a setup? I have no idea. So I do what every sane person and what every single one of you should do, no matter how severe the charge is. You zip your mouth. You call a lawyer. You don't say nothing to nobody. No, don't let...
100%. I completely agree. Now, there is the Sedona and Olivia situation that happened, and I really think it would have been better if neither side spoke to each other. Like, the second there was any legal proceedings being talked about, they should have cut off contact completely until the situation was handled. And when you have someone who is as unhinged as Breonna Powers seems to be, you really need to take that even more so seriously. Like, cut off contact, take whatever safety precautions you need to for yourself or whoever you think she's going to come after next, and let the law handle it.
People fool you into thinking that, oh, well, if you got nothing to hide, then you're going to speak up. No, if you got nothing to hide, you can still go to jail. I cannot go into further details about this subject because there's a statutory period for SA, and in Utah, it's like 20 years or something. So this can come back and bite me, so I have to be very careful with my words. But let me just tell you this. It's 2024, the end of 2024, it's almost 2025. It would have been 5 years since I should have gotten charged. To this day, I have not been charged with a single crime because I did not commit a single crime.
Yet we have Breonna Powers, well, it sounds like her, admitting to a crime.
That's all I can tell you. I put my hand on nobody. I hurt nobody. I abused nobody. It's all manufactured. Now, back to the subject. I can't go back into not talking to her again because she says, if you do that, I'm gonna let everyone and their mom know that you're a rapist. And she starts dangling this over my head. She blackmailing me every single day of my life with this. At the time, she still had hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram and on TikTok, and she goes and posts about this on her story every single day when we're on bad terms. And then she says that she apologizes and she believes me when we're on good terms.
And there are girls who are like, oh yeah, I'm crazy, but they're just barking. You know what I mean? Bark, 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 bark. They're not actually doing anything. And then there's Brie Powers. That is the girl you need to look out for. I wouldn't even worry about the bark, 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 bark. I'm so crazy. Bark, bark, bark. Not a big deal. You can tune that out. But this is what we need to be looking out for. Not that I think it's common at all. This is definitely not the usual, but I'd be surprised if this dude even wants to date again after that.
While this was happening, she was living in South Jordan. She gets into another argument with her landlord at the time, and she gets evicted. Again, no, I'm not going to mention her name, but if she wants to come out and tell her story, she's welcome to do so. But trust me, they get into it because Brie is just horrible, and she gets evicted. She moves, and she goes downtown. She's now downtown with a new roommate for not even a month. Her name is Natasha. I'm sorry for dropping your name, Natasha, but I think people deserve to know this. So, she gets into a fight with her. My friend was there at the time, like he was present at the apartment, and she tries to kick her door open. She threatens to assault her, and she spits in her face. And when I asked my friend, is that all that happened? He said that's the least of it. Police come. Brie gets charged with domestic violence. Natasha gets a protective order against her, rightfully so, and she goes to jail again. Now, is anyone keeping track of how many people have a protective order against? Oh, not to mention, the thing with Victoria was also going on at the same time, and now Victoria is charging Brie with harassment.
If you have a bunch of protected orders against you, why are you in society? Why is that allowed?
Core Power Yoga were having trouble with Brie, and they kicked her out and they banned her. The tanning salon, I think it was Peachy, do not quote me on this, but the tanning salon she was going to were having similar issues with her. She gets out of jail, and she is asked for my help again so she can move one last time. She hits me again.
If you are one of these guys who just can't seem to like cut a girl off, I understand wanting to keep contact with someone who has proven themselves to be dangerous because you have you believe they can get better and you have emotional and romantic ties to them. I understand that, but it is also completely okay, like especially if you have like really no strings attached, like marriage or children. Cut them off. You do not owe them help. And I understand wanting to be so compassionate towards this person who's doing the most horrific things to you. I can understand that. But you have to know that it's also okay to cut people off. You don't have to be the one to save them.
And at this point, how many times is the guy going to get smacked before he realizes that I can't be around this person anymore? So I decide, you know what? Let hell break loose. Brie can defame my name all she wants because that's what she has against me right now. If I don't talk to her, she's just going to go tell everyone that I'm a rapist, right? So I said, whatever. I delete my Facebook, I delete my TikTok, I make my Instagram private, I make my business account private, and I disappear. During that time, she gets into more trouble with more people, and she continues posting every single day, trying to get a reaction out of me. I deleted everything. I don't care. I'm just busy with work. March 2023. It was Ramadan. I was fasted. Brie reaches out to me again. This time it was different. This time she's saying that she was broke, she was getting evicted, and she just wants some food.
Yeah, this part is starting to make sense of why she was really pissy with Deej the dad for not paying $100, because she does seem to be really desperate, and it seems like she goes from person to person to person. And when you constantly have a bunch of brand new roommates and it's not like long-term things, and the reviews from the roommates aren't good, not like they weren't the best, they forgot to do the dishes, like DV situations, why are you allowed to be in society around other people and not locked up in prison when you have this many people come forward? And like I said in the I believe I said it in the update video before this, I really hope that him and other victims, who especially the ones that have evidence, are going to be brave enough to go to court and testify and tell their story, and that it's taken seriously.
I was fasted, and we tried to participate in extra charity works during that month, and I thought to myself, what's one meal given to a hungry person gonna do? Little did I know, The meal turns into 2, then it's every single day. Then Bree will not eat throughout the whole day until I bring her food. And mind you, I fast for 17 hours. So it's a very long time. Then the favors started to become, can you please sell my car? I need money so I can get a place. Can you please help me file for business loans? Can you please Venmo me $800 so I can pay for my last month's rent? I can't afford it.
$800?
And by now I realized I was fucking up. I gotta stop talking to this girl again. One time I was at the gym. She said, can you please let me into the gym? You have a buddy pass. It was EOS. She comes in. I let her in. When I was walking out, she said, come please hang out with me. I said, no, I don't want to. And you don't know how it goes with Bree when you say no. It's calling the cops, calling your family, yelling at the gym. It's a whole scene. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me just go hang out with her for a few hours. But I made a deal with her. I said, look.
Call the cops in a public place. Let her make a scene. Maybe it'll be the last time. Not that the law seems to take what she's doing to people seriously, but maybe this time they would.
You'll let me leave by 8 p.m. because I need to go back home and break fast with my family. Now, can you imagine this? I have to convince her to let me leave. She says, okay, we hang out at her place. She starts getting touchy. I said, you can't do that, especially not now. She refuses to stop. I get really aggravated. I take my stuff and I walk outside. 2 minutes gone by. She gets in her car. She speeds out of the driveway, out of the Block 44 complex downtown, and she tries to run me over. And she's yelling, you're not gonna leave me, bitch. No, I get away. I hide behind like a pole in the middle of the street. And she does that a few more times until I pull out my phone. I start recording her. She calms down a little bit when she sees the phone. Then a guy walks by, a random guy I never met in my life. He's like, hey, man, are you okay? I said, no, man, this girl's not letting me leave. He's like, okay, walk with me. That's the guy that you saw in the beginning of the first video. She gets in his face and she's like, what do you gotta do? Blah, 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 all these things, you know? And I'm holding the guy. I'm like, because I know what Bree does. She aggravates you to the point that you get physical. And then she calls the cops on you or she says you hit me. So I'm trying to stop the guy. I'm like, hey, don't.
Or she hits you. It seems like in that clip where there was like nothing on the screen, it sounds like she was hitting you.
Put your hands on her. Be very careful. Be very careful. 2 people watch.
Yeah, and that's something that Deej, the dad, was also mindful of. He was like, I'm not going to close my door while she's standing right there, because he knew, like, he could tell, like, it's about to be some bullshit because she's already recording. She was already uppity and, like, he doesn't even know her.
This. The guy's name Gabriel. I'm not gonna say their last name. I also do not want to expose them. But it's a couple. They see me. They're like, "Hey, dude, get in the car. We'll drive off." We get in the car. We try to drive off. Bree chases after us. Now we have a white Mormon maniac terrorizing Salt Lake City before GTA 6. Bro, what? She drives around us multiple times while yelling, "Give me my man back! Give me my man back!"
Hey, hey.
Bro, what?
Oh my God.
And I'm not even exaggerating. Like, she really tries to run us over.
Oh my God.
It gets so out of hand that people start pulling out their phones and everyone starts recording her. She sees that, she panics, and she goes back to her apartment. Too late. By the time that she was back, the cops were already there.
How's that not attempted vehicular manslaughter? I'd really like to know. Do we have to wait till she actually kills someone? Is that what we have to do?
They grab her, they arrest her, they charge her with domestic violence, aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and they give me a protective order against her that is still active to this day. And you think that that's the end of it, right?
Seriously, yeah, like she does.
So shut the fuck up and mind your own business before I come beat your fucking ass, bitch.
Fetishes and stuff, I agreed to do things like that, like be choked out by him.
Okay.
I just hugged him, like he made me feel safe. And he was like,
all right, so that is all I have for you guys today. This was really disturbing and hard to watch. It brought up some stuff for me, but I really think it is important that we talk about these situations because apparently for you guys still in the dating game, it is quite literally a nightmare. Not that this is what it's like for guys to go out and date women. They're like scared of this exact situation, but you do need to know what to look for. So when I'm showing things on the screen, like the messages, look out for things like that. When you have an initial interaction with someone and you send what you think is a cute task, even if it's kind of weird, and the response is, I need $2,000 for my rent, cut it off. The second someone's rude for no reason, cut it off. Before you owe that person anything, cut it off. And I think it was harder for Aziz to cut her off because he's known her for so long. And, you know, it was a roller coaster of emotions. And you generally think someone can get help and you can do better and whatever. You still need to cut people off. And I think it's really brave of the people who've chosen to speak out to do so, and they can get some sort of feeling of safety to date again or just go around in their daily lives. And the people of Utah just walking around, and like people who work around her building, can feel safe as well. I don't want to say if you like this. I don't like saying if you like this video after these darker videos like this. But you know, if you learned something, give it a likesy poo. Let's help spread the message. If you super learned something, share it. Share it with people who you think can handle it, or on your stories. If you got people on your social media who are in the dating game, they might need to know what to look out for. Make sure you're subscribed so you get to see all my videos. I have a feeling there will be more updates. This is my third video covering Bree Powers and her victims. So yeah.